Hey, just a quick explanation that I forgot to mention in the last video. In the first Twisted Metal video I mentioned that I only played Black. As much as I've heard about this game, I'm ashamed to say I've never actually played any Twisted Metal games besides Black on the PS2. And I didn't really take my time to explain that because I thought it was going to be the only video I'd make in the series. Obviously, it's not. When I was a kid, I used to play this at my friend's house, and he had this Twisted Metal, which he wouldn't shut up about. I tried playing it for 10 minutes about 2 times and I completely gave up on it, thinking it wasn't any good. When really I just had no idea how to play and I didn't care enough to do so. So yeah, my only experience with this game before now was playing it for 10 minutes in the 2000s. I just thought I should clear that up to not make anyone confused. Enjoy! So after the last video, I was again wondering how this game was gonna be. I talked about expectations on the last video, and how maybe I heard so many bad things that I could end up liking 3 and 4. It was true. For one of them. But this game is the complete opposite. I always heard about how great of a game it is. I never researched any of these games, I never watched videos, never cared about it, and still I kept seeing and hearing everywhere about how great 2 of the games were. Those games were 2 and Black. Now I was afraid to get overhyped about the game. Like, what if it's a great game, but I end up not liking it because people treat it as if God itself came down to earth just to deliver it? Well, I doubt God would give us this. Twisted Metal Black was a game made by Incognito Entertainment, which is a company formed apparently by former Single Track employees. Released in 2001, it's a reboot of the Twisted Metal series. Reboots are usually something I'm afraid of, but in this case, wow. While way darker than any of its predecessor, I believe it was a great choice. The first thing you hear when you first boot up the game is that first riff of Painted Black by the Rolling Stones. And with the artifacts of old movies on the screen, it sets up the tone of the game perfectly. There's no jamming music in this menu, no funny cars exploding, no cool fonts, everything is dark and gritty. It doesn't mean the menu isn't good though. Every option you select goes to another place where something different happening. The select screen now has everyone fighting in their vehicles, and their bios show their patient profile in Blackfield Asylum, with their disorders and treatments, again, matching the tone of the game perfectly. One thing I wasn't a big fan of is that you don't get to see anyone's story unless you pick them first. So you have to select your character by their looks and vehicles instead, and then you get a cutscene explaining more about them. This time there's no good guys, there's no one trying to save the world, no one fighting for anything funny. They are all insane and have extremely sad or creepy stories. I can definitely see why some people didn't like this game because of how edgy it is. Roadkill in this one is basically a neo-Nazi, and a lot of characters, including him, ended up getting censored. I'm not gonna get too much into this because this is not what I'm here for, but I am not for any type of censorship in video games, but this game got one of the biggest censorships I've ever seen in my life. The story was completely deleted in Europe, and I mean completely. There's no cutscenes at all, and they even removed character dialogue. Anyway, I chose Sweet Tooth in this one, which is apparently a big question mark in this game. He mentions how he killed people and about the curse that makes his head always be on fire. And he then meets Calypso, which looks interesting. He promises Sweet Tooth an end to his curse, so he accepts it. Obviously, the graphics are a big step up from the last game, but in terms of art style, it looks in par with the dark nature of the game. The first level is in a junkyard. Your car is all rusty, the sky is dark, there's people running around, the rain's falling, it's complete chaos. And I gotta say, I really love the way the rain looks in this game. It stood out a lot to me while playing it. Oh, and it's so cool that you can see the weapon selected on the car now. Like each weapon opens a compartment when you select it. I don't know, I just appreciate small details like that. I know most people would say that the maps look all the same for being dark and gritty, but come on, that's like saying, I don't know, Gran Turismo and Forza are the same because they're racing games. Okay, maybe not the best example, but still. I believe there's 11 levels and I'm pretty happy with how they play. I thought it was going to be a problem because I quickly noticed how big the maps are in this game. Like, there's this level that takes place in a small room, which opens up and becomes a ship, which then lands and becomes a bigger place. It's crazy. But I didn't really have any trouble finding anyone, which will be my main criticism for this game. I know, I said in the last video I couldn't find anyone, blah blah blah, calm down, it won't make sense. Midway through the game you fight Minion, which I'm not sure was supposed to happen, but I got destroyed at the same time and got a cutscene. So I'm not sure if I was supposed to die there or not. This is how everyone's story works in this game. You get a small glimpse of it on the beginning, a better understanding in the middle, and a conclusion in the ending. Here, Sweet Tooth talks about how he got his curse, which was done by another character who's in this game. I'm not gonna spoil everything in case you haven't played it, but this other character isn't really right in the head either. Now, I really like the gameplay in this game, but it is a bit janky. Cars are very fast and a little bit too floaty, but it's still the same great Twisted Metal gameplay. You have your power-ups, your special attack, your boost. Oh, and talking about boost, I said in the last video how you can press gas twice to boost and how that screwed up the game for me. They completely fixed it in this game. You only boost if you press gas twice on square. If you press up and then square or vice versa, you're not gonna boost anymore. It wasn't that hard, was it? However, I saw this in the comments on the last video too, and I completely agree. The AI hates you in this one. Yeah, BlueTag, they hated you in the other ones too. Yeah, sure. I mean, the AI hates you, and only you. I got so mad on that ship level because I could not beat it for the life of me. It took me a total of 1 hour and 12 minutes to do it. And in this case, it wasn't even because I was bad at it. But right in the first room, you fight 2 cars, you only get like 2 weapons, and it'll already be a miracle if you get out of there without losing a life. Because they refuse to shoot at each other and only focus on you. Of course, you do get better with time and start making strategies to when to go to health, respawns, etc. But wow, it is extremely frustrating at some points how there's 3 cars after you and they seem to simply ignore each other. You get 3 lives in this one and no more passwords. So if you lose all your lives, you can simply play the level again, which, come on, should have been from the beginning. It is a pretty damn challenging game. You are not going to just breeze through this like you would expect from a lot of PS2 games, and that's a good thing. When you get to the last boss, which is Random Chopper Guy, yeah, I know, Sweet Tooth says it's the guy that captured him, but he appears in every ending, so come on, it's Random Chopper Guy. It took me a minute to understand what the hell it was doing here. He has a chute around his chopper and these random trucks keep falling down forever, so I knew it has something to do with that. But basically you gotta destroy the trucks and shoot them to explode under the choppers, so it'll destroy the chutes. It took me a while to understand, but after that it was pretty easy. After that you get a cutscene where he goes to Calypso asking him for the curse to end, and Calypso then gives him a vial, saying it contains the blood from the man who cursed him, and if he drinks it, the curse will be over. But if he started killing people again, the curse will come back to him. So he destroys the vial and kills Calypso. The end. You then get the credits with a cool video playing while Painted Black plays in the background and wait a minute. What about the music? Well, yeah, there is a soundtrack to this game, but there isn't really music per se. Well, there is, but there's not. You see, I gotta admit, they did have some balls to make this, but the music is completely composed for this game. The only actual song, if that makes any sense, is Painted Black, and don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that the composed soundtrack is bad by any means. It's actually really great and I'm impressed no one talks about it. I know this type of music doesn't appeal to everyone, but I believe Shadow of the Colossus to have one of the best soundtracks in gaming history, and it's extremely underappreciated. While I don't believe that this is on the same level, it is still underappreciated. I didn't find anything about the music in this game, not even the fandom wiki. And the composer is the same guy who did the music in the God of War games. And Draconus? I don't know what that is, but I bet it has a great soundtrack. In the end, I truly love this game. The amount of details and pure love that you can see the developers put in this game is unreal. From the tone of the game that sadly got censored, the great graphics that match the tone, the gameplay that besides doing its best to be unfair can still be managed with skill and learning, to a great soundtrack, I give this game an S in my Twisted Metal tier list. I didn't put any other games on it, but that's not the point. It's a great game. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, I truly mean it. And don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed. Hey again, I just wanted to let you know that I turned on the membership on the channel. There's still no real perks or anything, it's just there so that if you want to support the channel, you can. And I'd just like to thank Yellow Dude, Osmir, Michael, Servo, Gordon Freeman, Gordita, and Droget. I hope I pronounced those right, otherwise, I'm sorry. If you became a member and I didn't mention you, don't worry. This video was finished on Friday and you'll be on the next one. Oh, and thanks for the 6,000 subs. We had 4,000 on the last video. It's simply insane. Oh, anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.